Survive 30 days chained to your ex, win $250,000. Part 9. Lanterns by the River. Night settled slowly over the city, folding the last streaks of gold into a deep velvet blue. From the terrace of the tea house, Clara watched the lanterns being lit along the Vltava. Their reflections trembled on the water like soft handwriting, stretching between bridges that gleamed in the dusk. She held the violin close, the wood warm from rehearsal, and felt a steady calm. A fragile but growing certainty that she was meant to be part of this hidden song. Inside, John and the others cleared dishes from a long table. Pages of music lay scattered, anchored by teacups and a polished stone from the riverbank. They had spent hours comparing the Clementinum notebook with the attic letters, following small clues through bars of melody and cryptic phrases. A pattern was forming, though still faint. Notes that mirrored the shapes of bridges, rests placed where moonlight struck certain streets, chords suggesting the sweep of towers against the horizon. Jan lit another lamp and set it near the score. "Tomorrow we will try the piece in its full shape," he said. "But tonight, there is something you should see." He motioned for Clara to follow. Together they walked down the slope, the other musicians trailing behind with quiet laughter and scarves wrapped against the breeze. They crossed the gardens, where fallen apples glowed pale in the dark grass, and descended toward the riverside. There, moored near an old stone landing, floated a narrow wooden boat trimmed with brass. Its deck was lined with paper lanterns painted in soft ochres and blues. John stepped aboard first, steadying the craft, and Clara followed, the violin resting against her heart. The boat glided away from the bank, oars dipping with gentle rhythm. Prague unfolded around them, bridges like ribbons of shadow, towers poised like watchful friends. Lantern lights shimmered on the current, casting trembling halos on Clara's hands. She thought of her grandmother crossing these same waters years ago, guarding a melody that had outlasted silence. Jan lifted a folded paper from his coat and passed it to her. "Your grandmother wrote this on the night she hid the violin," he explained. The note described how the music had been shaped by the city itself, how every phrase belonged to a place, how each rest marked a secret pause in the stones. At the bottom was a line written only for Clara. "If you find these words, let the river carry the music through you." Clara let the paper rest on her knees. She opened the violin case, tightening the bow with practiced fingers. As the boat floated beneath Charles Bridge, she raised the instrument. A quiet settled over the group. She drew the bow across the strings, letting a single tone slip into the river's hush. The sound curved under the arches, echoing back like a memory too gentle to vanish. Other instruments joined one by one, weaving strands of sound into the moving dark. The music stretched along the water, rising toward the castle walls, spilling silver over statues and stones. Even the city seemed to lean closer, listening. When the final note faded, silence followed, not empty but luminous, as if the air itself held the song. Lanterns bobbed softly around the boat. Jan smiled, his eyes reflecting the glow. "Now you understand," he said. "The twilight isn't only light, it is what endures between shadows." Clara gazed at the river, feeling a quiet strength settle inside her. She was no longer just tracing a mystery, she was carrying it forward. The night wrapped around them, gentle and wide, and she knew the story was far from over, that Prague still had more to reveal, and she was ready to follow wherever its whispers led.